The Imperial Guard, or as it is known in High Gothic, the Astra Militarum, is the primary and overall largest fighting force of the Imperium of Man. It consists of billions of men and women, drawn from thousands upon thousands of different worlds into various regiments containing soldiers, officers with the exception of commissars, and supply and support cadres, which can all feature unique cultures, dispositions, and fighting styles depending upon their world of origin. But all are united in fighting against the enemies of the Emperor and mankind. The Imperial Guard itself is run by the Departamento Munitorum, which provides all the supplies, equipment, and training to worlds with an Imperial Guard presence. But what about payment? Unlike the Space Marines of the Adeptus Astartes, who operate more akin to militant monastic orders, the Imperial Guard are just regular human beings, more often than not drawn from a world's planetary defense forces, although this is not always the case. For many members of the Imperial Guard, being a soldier is a job which many will not do for free or even out of a sense of duty or charity. It's important to note that within the Imperium there are at least 3 different sets of currency. Some worlds, such as Necromunda, will utilise what are known as credits, whereas other worlds will use a currency known as crowns, and others still will use a different type of currency called thrones. According to the Dark Heresy RPG, the average guardsman makes around 50 thrones a month, and the spending of which, as shown in the Caiaphas Cain and Gaunt's Ghosts novels, will typically be spent on high quality non-ration food, alcohol, prostitutes, gambling, upgrades for bionics, or even black market goods. But not all guardsmen appear to be paid the same way. Penal legions, for example, will not be paid anything, and would simply be expected to die in battle for the glory of the Emperor, due to the penal troopers' nature of being criminals. The one exception to this, however, seems to be that of the Savlar Chemdogs Regiment. Savlar itself is a penal mining colony, and the majority of the Chemdogs themselves come from the criminals who are incarcerated to a lifetime of hard labour. Their incentive for joining the Guard itself is not only the promise of leaving the toxic world they are imprisoned upon, but also the promise of being able to loot whatever they can from the battlefield after each mission, although if they are found breaking the law, they would be reincarcerated. Some Imperial Guard regiments, however, seem to have been formed as a way for people to pay off their debts. Upon the world of Jopal, the citizens of the planet owe their government money as soon as they are born, and take up valuable resources throughout their childhood, and, in doing so, incur a massive financial debt. While many of Jopal's citizens will spend most of their lives working to pay off the debt to their government, this can be circumvented by joining the Jopal Indentured Regiment. This would suggest that any payment that Jopal Indentured acquire through standardised payments would go directly to the planetary governor of Jopal themselves, and therefore the Indentured would never see a penny of this payment, as to be able to return home debt-free as soon as possible. There are also certain Imperial Guard regiments for whom payment in a monetary sense would be more or less useless. For example, the Atalan Rough Riders, the most famous cavalry regiment within the Imperial Guard, come from a world where the majority of the populace operate a nomadic lifestyle, raising herds of gigantic, shaggy and savage creatures known as Overgors, whose rich flesh and blood form the basic subsistence diet of the tribal Atalans. Attila itself has only one city on the entire planet, which forms the centre of the world's government. There are also the Catachan Jungle Fighters, one of the most famous of all regiments within the Imperium. Raised upon the death world of Catachan, the Jungle Fighters are extremely resourceful and uncompromising warriors, with a reputation of being the best jungle warfare experts and deadliest non-augmented humans within the Imperium. Because of the extreme dangers of Catachan, with every specimen of the native flora and fauna either extremely aggressive, poisonous, carnivorous, or all of the above, Catachan's only valuable resources are the men and women used to serve within the Imperial Guard. These soldiers from Attila and Catachan would hold little use for monetary payment given the worlds they come from. Because of this, it seems more likely that guardsmen from these worlds would be paid in supplies or equipment, such as high quality weaponry, non-ration foods, or whatever these soldiers might deem most suitable or necessary. Although it is possible that some of these regiments would still receive a basic, for lack of a better term, allowance to allow the guardsmen to mingle with soldiers from other regiments, buy food and drink, or gamble with to increase unity between regiments and ultimately increase regiment morale. Thanks for watching.